Jai Hind. Netaji Research Bureau brings you two historic speeches of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose and a collection of INA songs presented by Captain Ram Singh Thakur and his orchestra. After a 90-day submarine journey from Europe, Netaji arrived in Japan in May 1943. He broadcast the following message to his countrymen in East Asia from Tokyo on the 26th June 1943.
This is Subhas Chandra Bose speaking to Indians in East Asia. My countrymen in East Asia, while I am in Tokyo, I desire to address a few words to you, and I have no doubt that you will give them due consideration. In the first place, I desire to thank you most heartily for the warm and enthusiastic welcome that you have given me on the occasion of my public appearance in East Asia, and for the assurance that you have given me of your wholehearted support to our efforts to liberate our dear motherland. I feel overwhelmed at this manifestation of your burning patriotism and spirit of sacrifice. I have received numerous telegraphic and postal messages from you direct, while other messages I have read in the press. And all these messages have given me great joy and satisfaction. You know that I am always an optimist. Nevertheless, I must say that the response that I have received has exceeded my fondest expectations. I can only say in reply that I feel proud of you. Since the outbreak of the war in Europe and in East Asia, I have been saying repeatedly that we, the Indian people, could not have wished or even dreamt of a better combination of circumstances for helping us to achieve our liberty. When the world forces are helping us in this way, our task has automatically become very much easier than what it would have been otherwise. This fact should further strengthen our self-confidence and optimism and hearten us considerably in the fight that lies ahead of us. I am overjoyed to see that you have already realized that the responsibility of winning freedom does not rest merely on the shoulders of our countrymen at home. It is but natural that they should bear the brunt of the burden, and they have been doing so already. But at the same time, every Indian, no matter where he may be living at the present time, has a duty towards his country, and he must contribute his due share towards the final victory. I am convinced that India cannot hope to be free until all Indians living abroad perform their duty in this momentous world crisis. Owing to the fact that the tripartite powers have been giving their fullest support to Indian independence, it is comparatively easy for Indians living in Axis countries or in countries controlled by the Axis powers to play their part in the national struggle. Consequently, among those Indians who are now abroad, I expect that Indians living in Axis countries or in countries controlled by the Axis powers will render the maximum service to their motherland. Here in East Asia, you have seen for yourselves how deep is the interest in and sympathy for Indian independence. The readiness of the Imperial Japanese government and nation to render us any assistance in our national struggle that we may need has naturally lightened our task to a considerable degree. Consequently, there can be no possible excuse why any Indian in East Asia should not pull his whole weight in the present struggle. But though the Axis powers and Japan in particular are prepared to help us at any time and have been actually doing so already, the task of liberating India is ours and ours alone. That responsibility we shall not cast on anybody else, because that would be against our national honor. Moreover, we have no right to ask for or expect help from any quarter until we ourselves have first of all done our very utmost. Our countrymen and our sisters and brothers at home have been doing their best in the circumstances in which they are placed. But the enemy is ruthless and desperate, and he is armed to the teeth. Against such a brutal foe, no amount of civil disobedience or of sabotage or of revolutionary terrorism can be of any avail. If therefore we want to expel British power from India, we have to fight the enemy with his own weapons. The enemy has already drawn the sword. He must therefore be fought with the sword. But it is not possible for our countrymen at home to organize an armed revolution and to fight the British army of occupation with modern arms. This is a task which must therefore devolve on Indians living abroad, and particularly on Indians living in East Asia. Friends, if you compare the history of our national struggle with histories of similar struggles in other parts of the world, you will realize that we in India have lacked one thing and one thing alone. We lack the strength and organization whereby we can meet force with force. It is our task here in East Asia to supply this one want and thereby eliminate once for all the only drawback that we have in our national struggle. I therefore desire that all able-bodied Indians living in East Asia should volunteer to fight with me for the liberation of our motherland. This is our supreme task and duty, before which no other type of service counts for much. All those countrymen of mine who are prepared to fight for the liberation of India will please get into touch with me at once, either direct or through their local organizations. I am confident that with the help of my countrymen in East Asia, I shall be able to organize such a gigantic force as will be able to sweep away the British power from India in conjunction with those who have already been fighting at home. The hour has struck, and every patriotic Indian must advance towards the field of battle. Only when the blood of freedom-loving Indians begins to flow will India attain a freedom. Inqilab Zindabad. Azad Hind Zindabad.